Hi guys and welcome back. Now I am currently coming to you from the top deck of Virgin Voyages Scarlet Lady. Now this cruise ship was the first one that Virgin ever tried to build, and to be honest I personally think it's an incredible ship. Now at the moment Scarlet Lady is home ported in Florida and is generally completing shorter cruises, so either 4 nights long or 5 nights long. So I've been on a 4-night cruise from Miami down to Key West, over to Bimini, and we're now on the way back up to Miami where we'll dock tomorrow morning. Now, because this ship is operating on such short itineraries, it's so important that you think of a couple of key things before you get on board to make sure that you have the best possible experience. Now in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly those things, because there's a few bits that had I not known to think about it before I got on the ship, or as soon as I got on the ship, I'd have missed out and I'd have been really annoyed. So look, if you find this video useful and if you enjoy it, it would be amazing if you could jump down below and give it a thumbs up, which essentially just helps to push my content to more people to hopefully help as many as possible. And while you're there, it would be amazing if you'd think about subscribing to the channel, which you can do just directly beneath the video. But look, enough from me here on Scarlet Lady's top deck. Let's get started and look at what you need to think about before you get onto this ship. Okay, let's get started on the things that I wish I knew about before cruising with Virgin Voyages. Up first, let's talk about embarkation. Before I take a cruise, I quite often get nervous and a little anxious about the embarkation process. I've heard of so many horror stories of people arriving with the wrong documents, incorrect visas, and being turned away from their cruise, so it's only natural. Anyway, boarding a Virgin cruise at their home terminal in Miami is nothing short of an absolute pleasure. It's one of the best cruise terminals that I've ever seen. It feels so premium and it was an absolute breeze. In total, from the point of getting out of my taxi in front of the terminal to stepping on board the ship, it probably took me about 20 minutes, which is absolutely fantastic. That said, I did arrive later in the embarkation process, so most other passengers, or as Virgin calls them, sailors, were already on board. Sticking with embarkation day, I wish I knew how the food situation worked after boarding. I fell into the very typical trap of boarding a cruise ship and heading straight to the buffet. Virgin considers theirs more of a food hall, which they call the galley, but it's essentially still a buffet, and being faced with lots of other hungry cruisers looking for food. Instead, I wish I knew that the pizza place, which fast became my favourite casual dining option on board, opened on embarkation day, meaning that I could miss all the crowds, grab a pizza, and either sit out on the terrace there, or head back to my room and enjoy. Next up, did you know that Virgin has a loyalty programme? Well, I didn't before taking my first cruise. There have been some huge changes to Virgin's position on loyalty recently, but I really wish I'd known that Virgin had a status matching programme before taking my first cruise. I personally could have benefited from multiple perks by matching my higher loyalty tier from another cruise line, but I only found out about this while on board the ship, so I had, pardon the pun, missed the boat on that one. For more information on the loyalty programme from Virgin Voyages, just head down to the description of this video and you'll find a direct link over to their website in there. Next, let's talk about Scarlet Night. People often tell me that I come across as really extroverted and really out there, but the reality is that I also have a real introverted side too. Because of this, I often shy away from dressing up for theme nights on cruise ships and will almost always dodge a fancy dress event if I can. When it came to Scarlet Night, I did put on my red shirt and I went for dinner, only to be amazed at how much the other passengers had committed to the theme. I wish I'd known this before my cruise, because it really would have settled my nerves and made me far more keen to get involved. So take it from me, deck yourself out in red clothes. Scarlet Night is going to be a good one. The next thing I wish I knew before cruising Virgin was just how relaxed it would be on board. I expected the vibe on the ship to be quite dressy at night, simply due to the fact that the ship is full of absolutely gorgeous looking restaurants and all of Virgin's marketing material. However, how wrong was I? Yes, okay, some people will dress up for dinner, but so many don't, and that's absolutely okay. Whether you want to go to dinner Wearing a full dinner suit or jeans and a t-shirt, you're going to fit right in on board a Virgin cruise ship, so don't worry about it. Just pack whatever you feel most comfortable wearing. Okay, now let's talk about food. I knew the food was going to be good, but I wish I knew how difficult it was going to be to get booked into the restaurants once on board the ship. I didn't make any bookings on the app before boarding and was absolutely gutted to realise that most venues were already full for my cruise when I got onto the ship. This meant that I needed to use guest services, or in Virgin speak, sailor services, to help squeeze me in for dinner in most of the restaurants on most of the nights. Had I known before booking that restaurant bookings open from 45 days before your cruise, I'd have had a very different experience. If you've booked a Virgin cruise, just download the app and go to the dining section. It'll tell you the date that your restaurant reservations will be available from, and from that point, get booking. Sticking with the theme of reservations, I wish I knew that you really need to book the shows on board as soon as you get onto the ship. I assumed that because Virgin don't have theatres on board, you wouldn't need to book the shows, but how wrong was I? You'll find bookings are often required for entertainment in the Manor and also the Red Room at the front of the ship. If in doubt, just open your app and plan your night, and if there's an option to book, make sure you do. Now let's think fitness. It's no secret that I love how well Virgin do the topic of fitness. I've never been on a ship before with multiple gyms, a huge running track, outdoor equipment and a full training suite, and I've also never been on a ship with fitness classes that are totally included in your cruise fare. This means that unfortunately, so many people will be interested in trying yoga, Pilates, spin, or whatever other classes are taking their fancy that week. If you'd like to take advantage of a certain class on board, make sure you sign up early. Something to watch for though, there's a no-show fee for all of the onboard classes. To avoid people simply booking for their entire cruise, you'll be charged a fee if you don't turn up that's then donated to charity. So be sure to book only what you're planning to actually go to. The next thing I wish I'd known before my Virgin cruise was how small my cabin was going to be. I booked a solo insider cabin on the inside of the ship, and it really was tiny. Now, I'm no stranger to an inside cabin, and actually, I do tend to cruise in this type of cabin more than any other on the ships. However, this one was way smaller than what I'm used to. Had I done my research properly, I'd probably have booked a different cabin grade to just have a little bit more space. If you'd like to see some other cabins from onboard Virgin's cruise ships, check out the Virgin tab on my channel for sea terrace tours, extra large sea terrace tours, and also some other room tours too. Speaking of rooms, another thing I wish I'd known was how the ship is laid out. As someone who's relatively well cruised, I assumed it would be really simple and really easy to learn my way around this ship. However, there was one thing that kept catching me out: the random A, Z and M that come after your room numbers. Instead of calling the sides of the ship port and starboard like traditional cruise ships do, Virgin label every room on one side of the ship with an A at the end, the other side of the ship with a Z at the end, and all the rooms on the inside, in other words, those in the middle of the ship, are labelled with an M. Once you know about this and once you figure that out, it's pretty straightforward, but it can be really confusing to start when you're trying to find your cabin. The final thing I wish I knew before stepping on to my first Virgin cruise was what the onboard vibe would be like. We've covered dress code, but this one's a little different. I'm not sure how it's happened, but Virgin has got a real reputation among some parts for being a party ship, but this just isn't the case. If you want to party, then yeah, there are options for you on board these ships. However, if you want to spend time relaxing and reconnecting with you, you're absolutely going to be able to do that. Some of the public areas on board the Virgin ships are among the most gorgeous spaces that I've seen at sea, so don't be coming onto these ships expecting an 1830 holiday vibe throughout. It's just not going to happen. It's much, much more chilled. Thanks very much for watching my video today. I really do hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, it would be great if you would consider supporting my channel by clicking the subscribe button and also giving the video your like. If you've got a Virgin cruise booked, have the best time. If you've previously cruised with Virgin, do you agree with my points in the video? Let me know down in the comments. Wherever you are, thank you so much for being here today. Have a great day, and I'll hopefully see you in my next video.